Freedom Planet 2.
He's alive! He's alive! It is time!
Well, Galaxy Trail has been on a roll since Christmas 2016. I was in the exact same place when Freedom Planet 2 was announced in 2015 to the debut of the first gameplay in 2016, at my grandmother's house. And due to that, there is a lot to cover because we have tons of information, yet a little at the same time. Today, I am going to tell you why you should be excited for Freedom Planet 2. Freedom Planet 2 takes place 2 years after Freedom Planet 1. The girls are heroes and have been undergoing training to enhance their skills. A new enemy from the Dark Wars of Avalis, Murga, a bioengineered water dragon designed to be the perfect warrior, is released from her prison due to the Kingdom Stone's destruction, which happened in Freedom Planet 1. Her, along with her super weapon known as the Bakunawa, threatens Avalis and their world leaders due to Murga's knowledge about their history. From what I can tell, Freedom Planet 2's story explores more of the lore of the world rather than just aliens invading a fictional world, which what it should do. A sequel should expand on what was previously established, and Freedom Planet 2 looks to be doing that with every aspect including its story. Including with this is new types of characters we will get to see, like Carol's older system and some Earth Dragons. I mean, just look at this colorful cast of characters from returning and new ones. I don't know what Serpentine is doing. Maybe Lilac and him are gonna have a fight cause he's bored, or he joins Murga's team or something. But either way, it will all be interesting to see play out when the game is finished. I know that story and voice acting is all set in stone due to recording taking place last year, so we're just gonna have to wait for more information. From what I've been told, Murga will be a much different villain in comparison to Brevin. Edwin Tiong, or Omadon, told Lethal Gear Brevin was more of a hands-off villain, at least until the very end of the game. Murga is more hands-on. She has a more cerebral side and is willing to step in and do fighting. Her theme will reflect that, and there is some sadness as well as being the last water dragon like Lilac. And there's also a character who is a junkie who's named Freedom Planet 2 will run on the Unity engine. This allows the developers to do a lot more with the game in comparison to using ClickTeam for Freedom Planet 1. It allows for a much higher resolution, more assets they can mess around with, and for console users, the porting process will be much easier for them. So console players, you may get Freedom Planet 2 on your big screen sooner than you may expect. This also does tie into why there's been such a delay on the DLC for Freedom Planet 1 because of the old engine. I'm glad Galaxy Trail has raised the stakes higher, and it shows how much the game benefits from it. It's a ginormous step up from 1. Backgrounds and sprite animations look even more polished and beautiful, its controls are responsive, and it runs at a smooth 60 frames per second with 1080p support. Take note of that, Umbrella Corps, you rushed out, buggy, lazily programmed, terrible looking abomination. Oh yeah, did I mention there's a demo out for this game? Would've played at PAX, but wasn't in my hometown. Anyway, since they released the demo, I can talk about what I think of the actual game. This time around, there are 4 playable characters: Lilac, Carol, Mila, and Nira. Lilac plays exactly like her Freedom Planet 1 counterpart with refined tuning to her moveset. And I mean exactly like she played in Freedom Planet 1. She still has a Cyclone, Dragon Boost, and her methods of attack. She is given a guard command to use while stationary or on the move. All the other characters are given a new guard command, and it's best usable while moving when you can keep your speed if you dodge at the right moment when attacked. It offers a new way to keep the pace going. During her Dragon Boost, she can perform a Boost Breaker that kicks her out of the boost but it leaves an explosion, and there is also a new revive mechanic where you can revive at the spot you've been defeated but it takes a life. Those are really the only new abilities she's given, and I think the team's mindset was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The other characters, however, are different from that. So without further ado, I will move on to Carol. Carol is just about the same, but she has a new move given to her that allows her to throw a disc that counts as a hitbox for damage, and she can also teleport to it, giving her a hell of a ton of mobility options when combined with her wall jump. Her motorcycle actually makes a return in such a good way. In combination with her new disc, once you get motor oil, you can either put it away and take it back out at will. A big improvement over Freedom Planet 1, where you would lose it from sustaining damage. Carol is so much more fun to play as in Freedom Planet 2, and I'm glad Galaxy Trail made this improvement. Now onto the third returning character, Mila. Mila received an overhaul for Freedom Planet 2. Her abilities are just about the same, but they have been completely reworked. This probably does have to do with many players, like myself, not really liking her playstyle in 1. 2's reworks improve her as a character and actually makes me want to play as her more. Instead of charging the Phantom Cube, she makes a new Phantom Cube of energy while dodging. With this cube, she can shoot smaller cubes or do the old-fashioned beam, and when aimed correctly can give you a boost forward. This change alone makes Mila more faster, but they didn't stop there. They also gave her more combat options with punches and kicks like Lilac and Carol. You can also use your cube in combination with your shield, shooting smaller cubes, or just reflecting attacks off enemies. With these changes, I can definitely see myself playing Mila more often. Now onto the final character, Nira Lee. For those of you who played Freedom Planet 1, Nira was a glamorous young foil who turned in our heroes and locked them up in prison. She was even a tough as nails boss fight, which definitely made me lose some lives. Now she makes her playable debut, and she's pretty good. This is an all new character, so she is gonna have some faults. Her moveset is solid. Her attacks have a lot of wind up, but they can do tons of damage. In essence, she has devastating attacks, but you have to time them right. She has the same move stationary and while in the air. She shoots icicles from her spear while holding down the attack button while the stick is neutral. She does a lunge when the stick is pushed forward, and a downward attack with windup that I heavily rely on. She has a baton twirl when the stick is pushed upward. Her mobility is slow, and she has a double jump. What really is her focus is her ice powers. She can shoot ice discs that can freeze enemies, and her upward attack has a huge hitbox. If you ask me, she just feels underdeveloped. I feel that there should be some tweaks to her moveset, like having less cooldown time, or being able to move slightly when holding down the attack button. And maybe we can have a new move that gives her a temporary shield like she did in her boss fight. As far as I know, nothing is mapped to down frost arts. But other than that, I do like her. She just needs some tweaking. Other things like classic mode will be making a return, and the difficulty has been adjusted to be more flexible. It just changes the rules of the game. You equip items that have a set amount of rules, making the game easier or harder. You can customize these too to make your own type of difficulty, which I think is a neat feature that players will mess around with. More things I would like to see in-game would be specific customizable controls. If you need an example, look at Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. That game, with its 5 playable characters, allows you to customize your controls for each character without changing the default layout for menus. For example, I remember I had to remap jump to A when my controller was plugged in, which is also the confirm button. And whenever I remap anything else to jump, it would change the confirm button to that button. And that does conflict with muscle memory. I think you should have a default control method for the menu and have separate menus for each character that allows these custom inputs to be mapped. This will also help for speedrunners. Small things like this will be helpful in the long run. And I know this is a demo, but I ran into a few bugs like me phasing to the ground, or when the pull animation wasn't in sync with the actual pull. This happened multiple times, twice with Carol and once with Lilac. This is really all I have to say about the demo, and I hope the developers are listening so they can make this game as polished as possible when the full version comes out. That all said though, This is a personal thing, but I think now we should tone down the comparisons to Freedom Planet and Sonic. Steven said himself that he wanted to create his own type of game rather it being in the Sonic fan game Shadows. I'm a Sonic fan, yes, but I would rather respect the decision than just marketing it using Sonic-like terms. Cause what I see is not a Sonic-esque game. It's a love letter to all type of Genesis titles, like from Treasure or Konami, or even from Sega themselves. While Shovel Knight and Yooka-Laylee are heavily inspired by games of old and are treated as its own thing, which I am glad is happening, Freedom Planet is still to this day being seen as a Sonic clone. I want to see this series be successful as its own thing, and I admire the passion that everyone a part of this project has put into it. They clearly have come from a long way since they started, and I'm glad they can continue their journey. Galaxy Trail, if you're listening, I cannot wait for you guys to fully realize this sequel. And trust me, I will be there to play it day one and share this love letter with anyone I can.